to the heartland of football in Sydney, the Southwest. Third place, Sydney United 58, hosting fourth place, Rockdale Ilinden, in one of New South Wales football's great modern rivalries. Plenty on the line today as well for Rockdale. An Australian Championship place beckons. Their chances done no harm by Sutherland's shock defeat at Manly United yesterday. A win here, and Ilinden would take pole position for that qualifying spot, as well as all but locking in a top six position for a sixth straight NPL campaign. Time for Sydney United, a welcome return home for the first time in 3 weeks. It's win or bust in terms of their premiership hopes here today, but there could be another big swing in the race for this season's biggest prize, with Marconi kicking off against the Western Sydney Wanderers down the road in about half an hour's time. Both these two teams would dearly love to deal a blow to the other, and so the stakes are as high as ever at King Tom. Let's have a quick look at the lineups. 3 changes made by Miro Vlastelica, who's become a grandfather this week. Adrian out of the side after Belinda delivered their first child late this week. So in comes Liam McGee in a fixture he's got quite a bit of history in. 2 red cards over the course of 2024, partnering Michael Classic in the heart of defence. Bailey Rule returns as well at right back. Koya Nakano on the left. Adam Paplasic still in goal. Dylan Rose, Tomokiwada and Carlos de Oliveira. The new look midfield 3 as Tomislav Ozanic drops out. Leroy Jennings returns on the left. Wells on the right and Kreslovic down the middle. And for Rockdale Ilinden and Paul D off the 1-1 draw with Spirit last weekend. Levi Kay retains his spot in goal. Hunter Elliott and Lachlan Griffiths retain down the right, but a new look left side of their defence with Harry van der Sark slotting back to partner Griffiths and Rio Kurimoto dropping to the bench. Giorgio Speranza out as well. His place taken by Matthew Cordier at left back. Dean Pelicanos making his first start since returning to Rockdale in the transfer window, partnering Joe Skatanis in midfield. Chalakian at the tip of the triangle. Moody Najar off the left, Lockie Constable off the right. And James Temelkovsky looking for his first Rockdale Ilinden goal in his second start. Alex Wolchanoff, delighted to be along with you again today. Beautiful Sunday afternoon in southwest Sydney. Nothing better for football. This was a fixture Rockdale had the upper hand in until a year ago. Sydney United's win at the Ilinden Sports Centre earlier this season, significant in itself, but it gives them a chance to do the double over Rockdale for the first time since 2016. For those with shorter memories, that was the last time Sydney United secured a New South Wales premiership. And so just a little bit more on the line for them as well today. Lose here, Sydney United, and they'll be at least 7 points adrift with 7 games to play. Still needing to jump up here as well as Marconi. But a win here and they're still right in the race. Need to make sure they keep the pressure up on the top 2. Have all but secured a home final at the very least. What will be another midweek round of elimination finals once we get to that top 6 playoff. Conclude with the grand final. But it's Rockdale who started the hotter here, and James Temelkovsky getting on the ball early. Skatanis' cross, Najar's there, and it's been a very bright start from Paul D's visitors. Sydney United on the back foot after all of 90 seconds. In the shadow of the Boca stand. We said it's been a fair old whack of away trips for Sydney United over the past month or so. Played just 3 games here since the start of May. 2 wins and a solitary loss to Sutherland. Their home form has been pretty good. It's a dangerous ball in there, and Rose is forced to swing his boots at it to clear. Bouncing dangerously. Chalakian, who took the initial corner. Can he deliver again? Wells back in attendance. Scoop to the back post, and Nakano is able to do the clearing this time. His countryman Tomokiwada finishing the job, and now just a chance for the host to put their foot on the ball for the first time this afternoon. Misplaced pass from Nakano. It's not a sentence we commentators often say about him. He's looked a little sluggish out of the gates here today, Sydney. Very, very early, of course, but slow starts have been what have cost them over the course of the year. They managed to bounce back from one in the cup final against Apia to score first after half an hour. You don't want to be relying on that, though, to be fighting their way back into this contest sooner rather than later. A Rockdale team that have found a renewed sense of confidence over the past month or so. Disappointed to only get a draw with Spirit last weekend, but were the better team for the game's majority. Chalakian delivering again. He's taken a liking to the left-hand side. Constable! Pavlicic saw it all the way. But chances are mounting. Just totting up early here in the first half. And Nakano's run himself into a bit of a cul-de-sac there. Jennings getting his team out of trouble and not getting the whistle he wanted from Hayden Langholz, our referee today. Because of the importance of these fixtures more than anything, some of the individual incidents, least memorably, I guess, involving Mathieu Cordier, start of 2024. This is just his 6th start since that injury. Horrific leg injury at the Ilinden Sports Centre. He's looking closer and closer to his old self. Still fit as ever. You can see him wearing that. The ball comes to his left here again. That little bandage on his left hand today. He's had some minor issues in terms of playing football. It's uncomfortable as injuries like that are for footballers. And he hasn't been starting for the last couple of weeks, but back in today in Speranza's absence. The first touch for Dean Pelikanos, big part of the 2024 Premiership campaign. Chalakian going to ground. One of the most foul players in the competition. Unfortunately for the Rockdale skipper, he's been one of the most booked this year as well. 7 yellow tickets picked up already this year. Certainly one who is involved in a lot and hence sometimes finds himself on the wrong side of referees' decisions. Here's McGing. Been sent off in his last 2 starts against Rockdale Ilinden, and be hoping that record doesn't continue today. And Jennings is offside at that second red card. He's actually a substitute in the semi-final back end of 2024. Skataris bursting away from Jennings. So really have looked bright early here, Rockdale. And the Jars in a crossing position. He went direct, and Pavlicic had to be alert at his near post. And for the first time, the travelling Rockdale support find their voice. Chalakian with plenty of options to aim for. Flicked on by Constable and kept alive by Cordier. Gathering of red shirts, able to scrap the ball away. It's been a nervy start for the Sydney United support here. Jennings again getting involved in a tangle with Cordier, but coming away with the ball cleanly. De Oliveira with just a little bit too much on that for Krislovic. There's an accusation from 1 or 2 Sydney United fans. That was a missed kick from Levi Kay. They may well have been correct, but it was well enough directed to find Lockie Griffiths. Elliott right along the line, but judged it to perfection. Now he's able to underlap and get forward. Just 2 wins from their last 6 in league football. That's been the stutter in the race for silverware. A few too many points dropped from positions of ascendancy, and then in the second half of the season it's been these slower starts that have affected Sydney United. Their defence solid enough that they're able to absorb more pressure than most. It's been the attacking half of the field that's been a little bit more of a worry over the last couple of weeks. Kept scoreless against Blacktown away from home last weekend. Scoreless at the Ilinden Sports Centre against Sydney FC 2 weeks ago. Cup final, of course, was the exception to that. And clinical on that evening out at Valentine Sports Park against Apia. Delivery towards Najjar from Pelicanos. Seen off by Rule. Putting that into an area for Krislovic, who stuck up on the blind side of Griffiths. Vlastelica not best pleased that his team didn't get that throw-in decision. Rudy Najjar, who started the season in pretty good goal-scoring form, but has been moved to the left to accommodate the return of Temolkovski in the central striking role over the past couple of weeks. Temolkovski leading the chase here. Pavlicic is forced to clear into the stands. As I mentioned in the pre-game as well, it's been a while. Sydney United not had the run of this fixture. Quite the opposite to a little rivalry with Apia that's been building over the last little while as well. A little less luck against 2016, the last time they did the league double over Rockdale Ilinden. They've done the supposedly tough parts. Round 8 victory, the 8th of 9 games unbeaten. Well, 9 games perfect, forget unbeaten to begin the season. Easter Monday clash against Marconi looks defining in both the club seasons because of the changing trajectory for both that's occurred since then. Marconi unbeaten in league football since Easter Monday. Sydney United have just found a way to steadily leak points. A couple too many draws and losses that are uncharacteristic. Temolkovski with a positive touch. Oh, and Rule, I don't know how much he knew about it, but off his boots, onto the post, and straight back to him. Very, very fortunate. It's Temolkovski's first touch, which was so direct and forward-thinking. Nearly unlocked this usually very secure Sydney United defence, but they were caught cold there. Been under siege in the opening 11 minutes. Been unrelenting from Rockdale. Constable allowed to turn. Ball's been the standout for Sydney United in their back line after being given a rest against Blacktown last weekend. Be playing ball boy because he just wants the ball back in play as quickly as possible here so that Rockdale can continue to heap pressure on their opposition. Pressure relieving throw for Sydney United. Full ball from Hunter Elliott, but without really an intended target. Talk about the Temolkovski rejig for Rockdale with Najjar moving to the left. A little one in the heart of midfield and defence to accommodate Carlos's return as well. Harry van der Sage has been playing as a central defender for more of the season than he has been in midfield returning there today after starting in the heart of midfield against against Spirit last weekend. The departure of Isaac Danzo, a disappointing time, but plays with a slightly more defensive and physical presence in Pelicanos, but has plenty of ball playing ability as well, even if it's not his primary quality. Okay, he's looked a little unsure with his feet. There's been a couple of balls like that have been more challenging than goalkeepers are used to. To finish that point of Pelicanos, Sydney United all too aware of the danger he offers. Last time he started against them in the semi-final back in 2024, he scored. A goal that put them 2-1 up before Ray Ovens scored a quite wonderful winner. Sent them through to the grand final where they'd fall to Marconi a week later. Rockdale's had their measure in league football, but those two knockout games they've played recently, if you want to go back to 2020, one of the best grand finals New South Wales has seen. 3-3 draw that finished in Sydney United's favour in a penalty shootout that was as dramatic as the 120 minutes that day. Getting a pretty good contest to start this one in the opening quarter of an hour as well. Rule for Wells. Finally, Sydney United able to get some sort of attack going down their right, and De Oliveira wasn't too far from finding the feet of Krislovic. First spell of sustained possession we've seen for the hosts today. Vlasic goes down under the challenge of his opposite number, and he was best pleased about the lack of options in front of him though. Michael Vlasic, who's been a habitual winner his time in the NPL. Premier with Sydney Olympic back in 2022. It's really, until this year, his only full season of football at this level, because he's been courted corners in Southeast Asia and abroad. It's such a positive of last season and a half, and he was sorely missed. The end of season Australian Championship, which Sydney United look set to make a better fist of in October of this year, should players stay fit. As has been well commented on, it stack more depth across their squad this year. Tommy Ozanic, who's dropped out of the squad altogether today. One of the first names on the team sheet for plenty of others around the competition, but Sydney United Junior. De Oliveira started on the left wing last weekend against Blacktown City. Needs must in terms of availability and can fit in where, but he often drifts out into these wide positions. It provides wider spaces like this in which to operate. He fired that one into the feet of Krislovic. Rose in a wrestling match with Chalakian, and the bigger man wins out that time. McGing. And now Nakano. Rockdale's fast start has been seen off for the moment. It's off the line from Bailey Rule, the closest Rockdale came to breaking the deadlock. This is what Sydney United want. Only two teams to have had more possession than them in league football across game to game. Marconi and Apia. De Oliveira, who was just out on the right, now drifting to the left and feeding Jennings ahead of him. Beautiful feet from the Fijian. Can he keep the ball in? Oh, there's a decision for the assistant from all of 90 metres away, but looking along the line, and Cameron Wright says corner. Hayden Langholz, our central official today, agrees. It'll be a first set piece for the hosts. Just to test Levi Kay. Signing in Rockdale's goal to replace Nick Soros at the start of the year. Soros has had his injury issues at St George FC after having a stunning start to the season. Kay's had his ups and downs. Doesn't look quite as calm and composed as he did a year ago at Manly United, but growing into that number 1 jersey at a big club. They put pressure on him here with a ball into the near post. Half away by Skotadis. Recycled through Rose. And Rule. This ball was into an area rather than to an individual red shirt, and means it passes between Wada and Nakano. Goes out for a Rockdale throw. Thank you for your company wherever you're joining us around Australia or indeed the world. Football New South Wales YouTube channel. You've been able to catch every game of the NPL New South Wales men's season live, including that Marconi Western Sydney Wanderers fixture, which is just around the corner, just down the road. Wells bending one. Well, it was a similar area from which he struck in the Waratah Cup final. Didn't quite catch that ball with the same purchase. And now it's Rockdale struggling to get out of their own half. Well, the tide can turn in this rivalry, minute on minute. Just as you think the game is finding some sort of pattern, often swing wildly in the other direction. Sydney United setting up camp in Rockdale's half. Wada. Rose. It's a poor giveaway from the 19-year-old, and Najjar is away down the left. He's got the pace to burn. Has he got support in the middle? Only really Timolkovsky up with him. So Najjar feints, looks to buy himself some time, and he buys his team a corner. Nicely done. A one-man break from Moody Najjar. Just saying, filling the boots of Alek Gracevski at the start of the year. Didn't do too badly. Banged in 14 goals. He's up amongst the Golden Boot conversation. He's able to sustain that now in his new position, who knows, but doing the selfless thing, just as productive down the left. It's his best goal return in a senior season already, Moody Najjar this year. And he's one of the targets for Chalakian here. Pavlicic, the two-handed punch. Van der Sar almost controlling it on target. Who can rise highest? Not clear by Jennings. And eventually, Rule puts his foot through it, only as far as Chalakian. Another chance to deliver. Will go for a goal himself over the head of Timolkovsky and into the breadbasket of Pavlicic. It's probably more the pattern of the game we're expecting. Sydney United having sustained spells of possession and Rockdale able to use their energy and pace to cause problems going the other way. We're all wearing the captain's armband again today. Over 100 appearances. Brought that up a month ago now. It's gone by so quickly. Such a good impression down in League One with the Northern Tigers, where he played most of his football in his early 20s. Now a leader of one of the biggest clubs in New South Wales. Sister Charlie's a Matilda, of course. Well, picked off by Wada, showing some proactiveness defensively, and it's got his team going forward in attack. That's another sloppy turnover from Nakano, who's not had the brightest start to this game. It's left Sydney United exposed down their left. A great covering tackle from Rose. Good desperation from Elliott, who retained possession and then won the free kick. Jennings just a little overzealous. He's felt on a couple of occasions he should have had free kicks that haven't been blown, and has come up rather with a striker's tackle there on Hunter Elliott. Teams just answering one another. This first half has flowed beautifully. It's been a really entertaining watch. To the top four. You can see why. The quality of football that's been on show so far this afternoon. All that's really missing is a goal. That's for Rockdale to try and provide the first strike here. Najar to curl this one in towards Adam Pavlicic. Got about 6 to aim for in there. They've thrown numbers forward, Rockdale. Temulkovsky the target. And sliding at the feet of Constable was Pavlicic. He's been really tidy in his work so far. A lot of talk about goalkeepers in the NPL this week particularly. Daniel Solsky of Wollongong finding an A-League contract with the Perth Glory for the coming season. I have to say Pavlicic would not be too far behind. He's been as sturdy as any goalkeeper across the competition this year. Blessed with a few good goalkeepers to come through this place over the past decade. Daniel Nizic now playing his trade at Sutherland, but was a big part of that run to the Australia Cup final in 2022. And a very familiar name in Ollie Kalatz, filling the void for a couple of seasons, and now Pavlicic, the best young goalkeepers around Australia. Oliveira's just been a little loose with his distribution again today, forcing things a little. Can be part of the thought process, struggling to find goals, maybe just forcing passes that you usually wouldn't. Oliveira is certainly capable of the spectacular, but more advisable options there. Constable thinking that way, going the other area. The ball in towards Chalakian's feet, ended up at Cordier's. Najar turning away from Rule, shielding the ball. Ricochets off one, then the other. Rule is so good at winning those 50-50s, and not only winning the battle, but making sure that his team often come away with the decision. Not the case this time. Chalakian on the turn. Swept up by Pavlicic again, but he's been a busy boy. The opening 25 minutes here. Rockdale haven't made him do anything too spectacular, but there's been consistent work for him in the opening quarter of the game. Jennings with a lovely turn away from Skotadis. It's released Sydney United from some of that pressure. Nakano. Didn't cross over with Bailey Rule at Northern Tigers, but another one brought over. It's the longest trip from one side to the other of the state's football and competitions. The Tigers, of course, are in a pretty good position again to try and win promotion from League One. And the nearly men of that competition for nigh on a decade. Front runners for a long time last season before they were overtaken by UNSW and SD Raiders. Blacktown Spartans, who finished third, at top of that competition at the moment, set for automatic promotion. Kustovic not able to win the header, but a throw in a win enough. Took a about Sydney United and their interest in the Premiership. The battle for the Championship spot has really been interesting amongst the teams that aren't qualified already. Sutherland had a big chance to overtake Rockdale yesterday, but threw away a goal-to-nil lead at Cromer Park. There's Rockdale with a chance of taking a 4-point advantage. They were favourites to take the spot a year ago, but of course Spirit upset everybody and managed to win the Premiership outright, securing Marconi, Apia and Sydney United all being establishment clubs of that competition. Means that the race has dropped a little further down the table, but it means that New South Wales will be sending a stronger bunch overall, given Wolves are the furthest team down outside Sydney Olympic. Of course, they're sitting bottom. Spirit are not completely out of the race, only 5 points adrift to their win over St George yesterday. Even Manly United, you could argue, is still an outside hope. Just 6 points adrift of Rockdale entering the afternoon. So it'll be 7 points even if this scoreline stays 0-0 for the entirety of the 90 minutes. Good direct ball, and Krislovic is the wrong side of Cordier, but the contact not enough to bring the referee's whistle. A couple of half shouts from the spectators, but didn't look as though they were totally convinced either. De Oliveira has a good go at Chalakian, who fell to the floor belatedly, and the whistle comes after Odin Langholz had seen no advantage accrued. A couple of inquiries from Rockdale here, because they feel Michael Krislovic went down very, very easily. There was contact, so it's going to be difficult for the officials to pull that up for a yellow card for a dive. Well, and Chalakian was trying something creative, so creative that his teammates weren't ready for it. It's a bewildered look forwards, but I think a more bemused one backwards, because it didn't look as though anybody was facing Chalakian when he played the pass. Pavlicic has just been a little wayward with his distribution today as well. It's a light breeze blowing to this near side from the far, but nothing that should affect the ball that measure. Tomolkowski out of frustration, I think, more than anything, sends that into Saxonville Crescent behind the Boca stand. Half an hour gone. Two very different 15-minute periods. The opening one full of vigour and Rockdale attacking intent. Sydney United have calmed a bit of that since. They provided a little in their own way of attack. Certainly less than they're capable of, and I think that will be what worries Mira Vlastelic the most. There's been a couple of half chances for Krislovic to get off the shoulder, but that's been about it. Meanwhile, there's enough happening the other way to get the Rockdale fans interested. And Najjar cuts back inside Rule this time. Shoots with his right, blocked by Skatadis, who wasn't offside, despite the Sydney United appeals between two or three of them, and managed to clear the danger area. Lovely ball from Nakano, an even better touch from Wana, and Wells might be clear here. He's one-on-one. What a brilliant covering challenge from Cordier, who gave up 2 or 3 yards to Wells at the start of the foot race, but he closed that down stride by stride. It's got both sets of fans involved from opposite sides of the stadium today. Trading chance, which is creating an atmosphere of discontent, I would say, amongst both. Rockdale doing really nicely to play out of their own half there. Griffiths summing up the situation well under pressure from Wada. Just over 10 minutes till half time. Still the clearest chance coming down Rockdale's end inside the first 15 minutes when Rule cleared onto his own post and the ricochet bounced straight back to him, so he was able to clear properly. Chances since then, few and far between. We expect goals in this. Did have a 0-0 towards the end of last year at the Ilinden Sports Centre. One of the less notable meetings between these two, well, in the past decades. Every game has seemed to provide incident and intrigue. Today's just simmering to boiling point. Tomokowski with McGing in his back. It's too familiar from a different Sydney United rivalry with Marconi and their time together back in 2024. Krislovic looking for a cross. Wells is arriving. His effort just blocked well enough to prevent Kay from being involved in the action. More promising from Sydney United though. Lovely bit of interplay to release Akano. How's his delivery? Sits up behind Wells. The deflection took it away from him. Cordier sweeps the ball away. Probably Sydney United's best period of the first half. Rule. Not able to pick the pass forward, so happy to let Glassick and McGing build from the back. Rose for Glassick. Rule. Both coaching staffs making a little bit of noise, asking for a little bit more from their players in the closing stages of the first half. Rockdale sitting deeper than they have at any stage so far. Nakano, you see that inverted position he's picked up. That could be productive should the Sydney United players behind him be able to find him more regularly. There he is again. Again combining with Jennings. And it's led to a corner. Now that's a nice little combination that Miro Vlastelica has finally been able to get going. Two technically gifted players. Jennings has been closer and closer to getting a sustained run in the team this year. A couple of years marred by injury. His talent has never been in question for anyone who's watched him week on week. Sydney United fans know they're a lot better for having him in the team than having him out. Wada's delivery. Oh, it almost went in direct. Griffiths leaping across in front of Levi Kay. Would have been a little difficult to deal with. You feel had it found its way through that front post area. So 2 or 3 balls disappeared out over the stand so far today, so we're going to have to find another one. Actually, well-intentioned Sydney United supporter has played ball boy and got one back to continue the first half. Krislovic, who's been very active, he's also been well engaged by Griffiths at different times. And a handball spotted by Hayden Langholz, and the decision's gone Rockdale's way. To Sydney United's confusion, it's a wry smile on the face of Miro Vlastelica, and Hayden Langholz puts his hands up in apology. It pointed the wrong way. Right in front of the travelling committee today that Hayden Langholz has overturned that decision, so I don't think he'll be copying too many compliments for that. And Sydney United with a chance to put some pressure on from another dead ball. Wilder swinging this one away. It was an inventive header from Classic. Did well to get contact on it whatsoever. Sits up nicely for Kay. Tempos have been rather held in check on the pitch today. Two technical areas, a little less so. Paul D's turn to get fired up. He's not one who's often engaged in combative conversations with fourth officials, but just having a word or two there to Alex Zastanikovic. Ian Vedran Jaganchak in deep conversation. Trying to try and turn the tide back in their favour in the closing stages of the first half. And 45 minutes they can feel pretty good about. Hasn't quite been the complete performance, but been enough that they've put plenty of pressure on one of the top three, to the point where probably feel a little unfortunate that they don't lead. Rose. Rockdale's press has been efficiently set up today. It's been anything but no holds barred, but just regular enough for Sydney United midfielders to feel the pressure and turn the ball over a little more easily than probably should be. Chalakian and Temilkovsky linking up. You feel that could be a very, very dangerous relationship if it develops whatsoever. On different pages just a couple of times already this afternoon. Only we're all trying to steal a yard or two there, right in front of Paul D. Rose for Nakano, striding into green pasture. Jennings right on the line, and Elliott went to ground. Managed not quite to keep the ball in play. It's an athletic piece of defending that. It's almost like he managed to generate another foot or two, realising he needed the extra distance to make the challenge effective. And this artificial turf, that comes at a cost at times as well. Classic for Wells. Don't want him on that left foot. You can see Rockdale converging upon him. Three drawn to him, and that provides space for De Oliveira, whose delivery is off the mark. Doing such a solid performance in the Waratah Cup final a week and a half ago now. A little less effective against Blacktown City. That Landon Stadium surface, which seems to provide problems for every visiting team. Carlos played most of his junior football there, so knew the foibles and the follies of that ground. Constable. See him just tucking inside. He played most of last season as a central midfielder, came through as a winger. Glenmore Park Jr. A little way north of here. His last season with Rockdale was actually his first in senior football without finding the back of the net. He's managed to rectify that this year with a couple of goals. Including one last weekend against Spirit. Wonderfully worked. Just needed his finishing touch, which he willingly provided. Can Rockdale find the opening goal of the game in the shadows of half-time here? Chalakian. Nice turn, but surrounded by 3 Sydney United players. It's going to be difficult to scrap the ball out of there. Wilder dispossesses him, but the press wins the ball back. Chalakian for Rockdale. Might fall for Timurkovsky, just evaded him. And then the shot sits very nicely indeed for Pavlicic. Pelikanos not able to repeat his effort from the 2024 semi-final just yet. It's a little bit of a hesitant effort, in all honesty. Oliveras fighting to keep his feet, but Skatadis kept his balance and won the ball. Timurkovsky, ball takes him wide. He found a telling delivery. He found Skatadis, who was stretching. That made it difficult to steer the ball where he wanted. But this is rather a similar end to the start of the half. Sydney United were having to absorb pressure and they're playing themselves into another dangerous area. Chalakian winning it back. He has been a real headache for the Sydney United defence in this first half, as he so oft is. Premiership winner with Rockdale 2 years ago, Championship winner with Manly back in 2017. His first touch wasn't great. The second one gave Krislovic something to battle for. Again, Sydney United pinged in their own half until that ball from Hunter Elliott just releases the pressure. That will be close to pretty much it. Don't expect too much time is going to be added on. Both teams have been doing a good job of keeping the ball in play. It's made it entertaining for us. Neutral watchers, just the 1 minute about to go up on Alex Astanicovic's fourth official's board. Nice turn from Constable. Really, just winning out in those 50-50s and through past us a little too much of Timurkovsky, who doesn't look far off his first Rockdale goal, it has to be said. He's found himself in a couple of situations where the ball just hasn't dropped for him, but the positioning is good, the hold-up play doesn't look too far out of that campaign in Hong Kong with Taipo. He's involved in Asian Champions League 2 football as well, of course. Been any doubts about his ability to fire the ball down the other end. He always gets such good purchase, one of the best distributing goalkeepers in the competition. I'd say the same of Skatadis' pass there. Plenty in this Rockdale squad with professional experience. A few with A-League contracts to their name in their past. Wilder's ball. Asked a little too much of Jennings. He did well to prevent it from going behind, but it matters little. A first half that started with a flurry, and it was mostly in Rockdale's favour. Bailey Rule forced to clear off his own post inside the opening quarter of an hour. From there on, Pavlicic was busy without really being tested.
Progress scores from other grounds. It is Marconi nil, Western Sydney Wanderers Youth nil.
A rivalry cooking.
Don't forget our next home fixture, ladies and gentlemen, is actually an Australia Cup fixture. That's Wednesday, July 22. Sydney United take on Central Coast Mariners right here at the Sydney United Sports Centre. Put that one in your diary. Sydney United versus Central Coast Mariners in the Australia Cup on July 22.
Every week, hundreds of thousands of people turn up around football grounds around New South Wales. Parents, kids, refs, coaches and volunteers. Cardiac incidents can happen to anyone at any time on the pitch.
Right now, not every club has a defibrillator.
And the ones that do are not always maintained or ready to use. In a critical moment, with a defib, that could save lives. That's why Football New South Wales, St John Ambulance and Toyota have come together for Every Beat Matters to help clubs around New South Wales to access defibrillators, cover maintenance and build a register so we know exactly where every unit is around the state. All you need to do is buy a ticket through Raffle Ticks. $5 can make a difference. Every ticket goes towards funding defibrillators and maintenance for clubs that need it most. A live fundraising board shows exactly how much is being raised. And every ticket you buy puts you in the draw to win a Toyota Corolla. One ticket, real impact. Help your club be ready when it matters. So buy your ticket today.
Here's Sutherland. FC, midweek played SD Raiders. 1-1-0. Great strike, and set it right now, Farah. Delivers it beautifully. He's onside here. Just has to pull the trigger. While Prendergast made the initial save, the rebound for Fowler. Zach Fowler scores. Comes back to the left. This is Harm. Moving around, works it in. Way. Then another hit. I'll tell you what. This time he's got his goal. He was wanting it, and he's finally got it. Now the ball comes back to Pufflet. Now Woods. Woods shots. That seals the deal. Sean Woods gets the goal. He's second for the season and could well be the match winner. He goes back in situation for Sydney FC. And a shot! Holy Toledo! Right on the stroke of full time, Tay Headley has delivered a great goal.
Base, but not used to receiving possession as Meyer gets it back. Franco Meyer! That is spectacular! What a goal from Franco Meyer! Some strong challenges in the middle of the park now from both teams. Cross into Omsen. Jack Omsen! Doubles the lead.
Thought about going for it first time. But where's that wide to Katrib? Good ball across. Abdul Rahman! Western Sydney opened the scoring on the 10-minute mark. McEwen, and that is a very strong challenge. And the free kick taken even quickly. Armanakis now. Great ball through. Kakucha gets onto it first. Sebastian Kakucha! That's a great shot and good save by Curto, but not enough, and it falls into the back of the net. And it's Lachlan Sitaut.
Delhi caught in possession. Hollingdale spills it. Diego Padilla blocked away. Great defending from Kishimoto. The through ball from Meyer. Delightful! What a finish and what a goal! Yanni Nicolau! Segreto telegraphed the ball and he found a way past Meyer. Rory Jordan breaking into the box. Ortiz! A precise finish comes from Mafuka. Given away. Vanilla runs laterally. Oh, Vanilla! Goodness gracious! What a goal! So Jordan Segreto has run over from the right side to the left to take this corner kick. Delivery to the near post, glancing on and in, all the way through. Long throw, turn in the penalty area, blocked, and the follow-up safe, and then at close range it's in. Tasman and the London. Sutherland have found a third.
A goal right in the shadows of half-time. Big goal indeed for David Perkovic's men. Great cross. Griffiths! There's the opener!
Again, directly into his face, Telmakovsky pauses, waits, looks for Constable in. Constable takes a touch, takes a second touch, bearing down on goal. Constable with the shot! Constable with the goal! In the 21 jersey, Noah Peacock. Looks like Corey Cavan is coming on as well here. Now, chance for goal! Oh, from nothing! From absolutely nothing. The ball has broken free for Sam Armson.
Geisen can clip it forwards. Awkward one for Beattie to deal with, and rushing through on goal now. Here's an opportunity, and it's placed into the corner. Shaked has work to do back. And now to find Lewis Curry, and it's still there for the midfielder. And finds the corner. It's 2-0 to the visitors. Duarte. Hugo Cornish lines up a strike. Dipping effort off the bar. And Scott heads in. And the Wolves halve the deficit. Dream start to the second half. Well, it was a diving header that looked to in an awkward position. Hernandez's ball in this time. And it's a fantastic header from Yuto Fujita. Can find Fujita. Skips inside, Fujita still going. And buries a beauty. Yuto Fujita has turned this game around for the Wolves. Mitri, that ball's floated in. Berry still has it there. Tep is there, and it is in the goal. Bundled over the line, and it's 3-3. Not the prettiest.
Sports Centre, second half about to get underway between Sydney United 58 and Rockdale Ilinden. 0-0 at the break, and a lone change for the visitors. And Ilinden, Rio Kunimoto.
Coming on for Rockdale's number 4, Rio Kunimoto.
In place of Mathieu Cordier. He's been able to get through the opening 45 minutes here. So a makeshift possession for the Japanese, usually centre half, but should be able to carry out that duty with the required defensive discipline. Maybe a little bit less of the attacking thrust that Cordier offers when he's able to get up and down. No changes for Sydney United, who were under the pump in the first half. Bailey Rule clearing off their line into their own post inside the opening quarter of an hour. It was really the best chance for either team in the opening half. Sydney United coming forward with a flurry to start the second, and Rule's cross deflects off the substitute Kunimoto, and behind for a Sydney United corner. Kunimoto in his first campaign with Rockdale, signed from Tainan City in Taiwan. Playing last year. Well travelled, in a couple of different teams in J3 as well as over in Singapore. So that ball swung in, and Kay came a long way. It's difficult to look into the sun shining on the far side, but it shouldn't be affecting him there. Flailed for that one. Fortunately, there was no red shirt to capitalise. That's a better start from Miro Vlastelic, so what he would have wanted to see coming out of the break. Simmer outplayed for the majority of the first half. No rewards for Rockdale on the score sheets. James Tomakovsky's been lively, having a clear-cut chance fall his way. Hockey Constable had a couple. Chance from inside the box, and he found Pavlicic almost on the chest. James Gatatis with a stretching effort midway through the half that ended up going out for a throw-in. Not to say the quality of the effort was poor, it's just too far away from him, the ball. There's a half of chances like that. 45 minutes that sort of petered out after starting at a good tempo and pace. Not quite the same fire that we've seen between these two over the past few years, to this point anyway. And Langhold's referee's been able to keep his cards in his pocket as Rose got a hold of Chalakian and gave away the free kick. Vanderstark's been keen on balls like this up towards Tomakovsky. That's the most effective way to use him. Kay with tap in hand slices the ball somewhat clear of danger. Just doesn't look comfortable all afternoon as we leave by Kay. So his sheet is still clean. His defensive looked solid in front of him. Chances for Sydney United have been few and far between. Lovely footwork from Nakano. That's why they brought him to the club, for moments of brilliance like that, as well as the defensive ability. Wada's strike, well blocked by Griffiths. And now Najjar's trying to get Rule into a foot race. United skipper today able to tidy up the danger. And now in a pocket of space, about 30 yards from goal. Going to dink it to De Oliveira, who looked as frustrated at himself for not anticipating the pass as he was at Rule for knocking it wide of him. Update from just down the road at Marconi. The Stallions have just taken the lead over the Western Sydney Wanderers. Goal to nil, 10 minutes from half-time there. I'm going to find that one where you found this one on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Wells testing Kunimoto. His dancing feet of his. The ball back in play quickly. It's been good to see both teams keen to do that. De Oliveira ricochets to Wada. And Krislovic! Touch was tight. And it just wriggled free of his control. beautifully picked out by Wada. That's the sort of quality he offers around the edge of the penalty area. Thought better of going for goal himself. And Krislovic a bit disappointed. His first touch didn't give him the opportunity to test K that time. Krislovic, their leading scorer this season with 7 goals, stepping into the gigantic boots of Patrick Antelmi. So many important goals over so many years for Sydney United. He and Chimenti have split that duty between them this year. Krislovic with 7 in the league, Chimenti with just at 2. Means he's winning these starting positions more and more often as the season draws closer to an end. Kalat's legacy at this ground, the Krislovic name is larger on this ground as well. Jennings was brought down. Sydney United want to keep the play going and get the ball back in play quickly. Rose for rule. Hearing our effects makes Marconi have doubled their leads before the break at Marconi, so it looks as though they're going to keep their buffer up the top. They'll be 4 points clear of Apia still if they're able to seal all 3 points there. They've played barely any games at home in the opening half of the season. This run of games they've had late, quite in contrast to Sydney United. Pelicanos is down and going in his upper leg, which is another worry for Paul Dees. He removed his left back at half time. I don't think he was planning on using a second substitution quite this early. Rory van der Sarg and coaching staff in deep discussion. 7 minutes into the second half. Van der Sarg, of course, has come across from Marconi. Very good Australian Championship campaign. I think there's going to be some discussions about just what they do here if Pelicanos is not able to continue. It looks as though it's going to be the case. Heavy set of eyes, he comes to the sideline. A quick check-in with his assistant coach. Reverend Jaganchak has just called for a substitute, so see if that is for Pelicanos. Van der Sarg back into the heart of the defence for the moment. Long ball from Elliott. Tomikovsky chasing, and he showed little regard for Nakano in front of him. The throw-in will do for Sydney United. Fans up here behind us in the Rocker stand have been more and more engaged as this game's worn on. The team have given them more to cheer about, must be said. They've started this second half a lot more brightly than they did the first. Expected this to be a tight contest, 3rd versus 4th on the league table coming into today. Chalakian, I think, was all too happy to stop the play there, and Timokovsky getting involved as well. Langholz has been patient today, hasn't brought out the yellow card just yet. Turned over by Wells. Just looked a little disoriented as he tried to return the ball to De Oliveira, and then he's dragged down by Kuramoto after nicking the ball off him. Kuramoto stayed down after that little embroilment. Rockdale players dropping like flies. They are able to get forward here, though. All too far ahead of even Lockie Constable for him to chase down. Carlos is back out there, so they are back to their full complement, Rockdale, and the Jazz nick the ball back in a dangerous position. Crosses too far from Timokovsky, finds Chalakian, takes him back outside the box. Chalakian on his left! Pavlicic saw it all the way. Good piece of goalkeeping. The first time he's been tested in the second half. The busier of the two keepers in the first 45 minutes. Feels like a game that could be decided by just the one goal as we tick towards the final half hour. I seem to remember saying in the first half, though, as soon as you assume a pattern to one of those Sydney United Rockdale games, it surprises you. The might two here. De Oliveira is able to get in behind. Well read by Griffiths. He's been faultless today. Poor turnover from Najjar. Wada stretching. Pelicanos tidying up. A good ball from Pelicanos to pick out Timilkovsky. The two new signings combining. Skitaris. This is Rockdale at their best if I can get the release ball. Chalakian evades Rose. Najjar. Summing up his options, and the cross was off the mark. Right intention to find Timilkovsky. So United just got to get their feet under them here. A little loose, particularly those transition moments where Rockdale are able to pinch the ball back. Skitaris with a wily foul, shall we say. Particularly once Griffiths has jumped in. He was too keen for his centre half to be caught out of position. And looks like another Rockdale change is coming. Stefan Simonoski has been a regular substitute for them this season. His real year out of the 20s, and Pelicanos who came over to be checked on just a moment ago. Not able to continue.
Rockdale Ilinden, number 14, Dean Pelicanos, coming off the field to be replaced by number 28, Stefan Simonovsky.
So it's not a surprise you're not going to see out the 90 minutes today. Got through nearly an hour. Big role for Simonovsky now. Stepping in and to do a job in front of the defence. Just as Sydney United seem to be gaining some momentum, I'm not really sure what the intent of that ball from Wada was. Too flat for any of his players to attack. Sloppy coming out of their own half there, Rockdale, and then Jennings goes down under the challenge off Chalakian. Two players have been around the block there, and I think Chalakian knows he's been got a little. Seen plenty of opportunities like this from a Rockdale perspective in the first half. This is now a chance for Sydney United to deliver from one of these dead balls in the second. And across the board, I have to say, the delivery from both teams has left a bit to be desired in those situations this afternoon. De Oliveira, I think, knows that. His radar's just been a little off today. One of the tidiest distributors in the competition. Too often turn the ball over. A little wasteful there. So that's a change. Kunamoto's come into the centre of defence. Van der Sar in the midfield, and Simonoski going to left full back. It's a bit of a rejig for Paul D defensively. It doesn't unsettle things too far. They've been so solid to this point, Rockdale. Okay, a couple of moments of hesitation, but hasn't really been troubled. Kristovic had a half chance 10 minutes ago. It's been about the extent of what Sydney United have been able to create so far. Frustrating hour or so here, but still plenty of time for either team to find a winner. Talk about momentum and patterns of play all you like. Some of the ones that find the back of the net that matter at the end of the day. Wells, and a gorgeous touch from Wada. He has shown his quality on a couple of occasions this afternoon. Made his first start in a month. Waratah Cup final Great start here. Wasn't one of the stars there, but seems to be growing back to his best. To spell out with injury. Of course, taking on his former club, which was Player of the Year. Rockdale, part of that classic 2020 Grand Final. Another one, we took that Kunimoto coming over after some time in Singapore. That's where Tomoki departed to in his time away. Rose caught cleanly, according to the referee. Let's see, there's other opinions available on the hill. There are moments where they've been engaged in the game. It's the same for the committee who are sitting below us and singing at different times. It's been a tepid start to the second half, though. Perhaps they've heard me. Trying to drive their team on. Sydney United are placing realistic Premiership contention on the line here. Need all 3 points to remain as part of that race, particularly given Marconi's lead against the Western Sydney Wanderers down the road. For Rockdale, they know 3 points could be so critical in them taking an Australian Championship place at the end of the season, which is their desire. They want to fill out the Ilinden Sports Centre. There'd be nothing better than seeing that place full for 3 home games in that competition at the very least. De Oliveira. There's been a very loyal contingent of fans who've been patient. A bit more success to sing about in the past 5 years. Well, they've been the sleeping giants, haven't they? Rockdale before that premiership. 2020, and then repeating it over a full season for the first time in 2024. A little bit off that pace this year, but still capable of challenging the best in the competition, as they're showing here today. Sydney United have regained measure of control over this game as the second half has worn on. As we mentioned, kept scoreless in their last 2 league games. Haven't been able to craft too much in the way of attacking opportunities. But best chance looks to be getting wider in those attacking areas. Nakano with a nice first touch, with a bit of space to use as well here. Jennings darting inside, but dispossessed by Elliott, who's had a fine afternoon. De Oliveira getting himself involved on the defensive side of things, maybe to spark his attacking output. One by Griffiths, who stepped in well, and Rockdale have got numbers if Temulkovski can get the ball forward. He manages to flick it wide to Najjar, and white shirts flooding forwards for Moody Najjar. Skataris slowing the tempo. Simonoski. Van der Sar. Sydney United have retreated to take some sting out of the attack. Kunimoto. Simonoski happy to win the throw out of all of that. I don't know if Sydney United do find a winner here. This place is set to really explode. Picture of noise and colour, as it has a few times so far this season. Oh, Simonoski. He's got a long throw in his locker. Who knew about that? Whipped that off no more than 2 steps. De Oliveira with a hold of one another. throw came in. Tomokowski showing just a little bit of frustration. Rule. Wells. Doesn't have space to get in on that left foot as he loves to do. Hasn't switched flanks with Leroy Jennings at all this afternoon either. Bit of a surprise. De Oliveira. And we can't find the cutting pass, and Szymanowski's away, and so the same with him. Been some really good moments over the course of the day for both teams. There's also been moments like that, just of sloppiness as the sun begins to set over the Boca stand. Switch of play from Vlasic, just out of the initial reach of Jennings. Faces up to Elliott now. Still Jennings. And two with Rose, just fell in his favour, and then Chalakian runs over him. A couple of times he's fouled Jennings in the past 5 minutes, and this one's in a rather more dangerous position than the first. Sydney United have grown into this game. It's so often been the pattern. Started a little slower, but the second half performance has been closer to what we've anticipated from them over the majority of the season. There's a pair of minds over this one, so Wada and De Oliveira, and De Oliveira will make way now. De Oliveira put far too much on the last one. Wada goes direct! Superb! A sweet strike from Tomoki Wada to give Sydney United a very important lead. Deserved on their second half display. A master over the dead ball, as Rockdale know all too well. And we said this place was set to explode in noise.
What a wonderfully taken free kick by number 8, Tomoki Wada!
A fourth goal of the season for the 31-year-old.
Rockdale 0.
And very little reaction, as though that's just what I do. He executed there. And Rockdale's old charge, old hero, back to haunt them for one of their great rivals. And now the bit will be right between Sydney United's teeth. And Rockdale needed a response. This is where Sydney United have been at their best this season, playing from in front. Late in games, it's not been too often, but opponents have been able to catch them. The defence, one of the strongest in the competition. McGing and Vlasic often tested in the first half, rarely troubled in the second. Vlasic made a string of saves over the first half. None spectacular, but all tidy enough. And Harry van der Sar is keen to keep the game moving, probably a little too determined there. Every defensive action will be met with applause and cheers now. And for Sydney United, we mentioned it's an opportunity to do the league double over Rockdale for the first time since 2016. It'd be 4 games unbeaten against their modern-day rivals, and that would be the first time they'd have managed that since a 2019-2020 run that culminated in a certain grand final. Bittersweet season for them. On this occasion, under the setting sun, might continue to improve. Van der Sar pushed into midfield to give Rockdale some attacking thrust. We haven't seen too much of that yet. Game that was set to be decided on moments. Tomoki Wada has taken his. Looks to be his most important strike of the year. Back from injury, glad for that. And returning, it looks to full fitness in terms of match fitness, and the execution on that free kick in 68 minutes tells you all you need to know about how he's feeling with his football. Probably providing the greatest threat even before that strike. So often Sydney United have not been able to pick the lock over the last 2 months. They've now got back a player who can turn the match on a moment of individual brilliance like he did just there. And De Oliveira, no small part in that. It was his press and drawing of the foul from Chalakian. Jennings, the one who actually won the foul, but De Oliveira able to regain possession high up the pitch, and what's not been his finest afternoon in terms of his proficiency with the ball at his feet, but even then able to impact the match. Double change being ready for Miro Vlastelic. So Farakoko's been somewhat of a super substitution for them this year. He's being ready to call Chimenti. Probably take over the reins up front from Krislovic, who's worked hard. One half chance towards the start of the second half he wasn't able to take, but proven a handful again for Rockdale's defence. Rose with Van der Sar at his back, but maturity of the 19-year-old just to shrug off the attention. Retain possession. Wells wants to play one of these bending balls over the top. It was a clipped effort, nodded on by Wada, and Krislovic just a step away from bearing down on the goalkeeper one-on-one. Well, want some Kunamoto's ball-playing ability to come to the fore here as well, Paul D and his coaching staff, but haven't quite seen that to this point either. Rose, by contrast, right on the money, it looks for Nakano. Elliott well positioned, scurrying free with the football. Not too much support other than Temukovsky, so forced to stop and hold the ball up, invite Van der Sar and Constable forward. Van der Sar just trying to force a pass that really wasn't on. Left one in on De Oliveira as well. I think a bit of frustration starting to set in. Mentioned De Oliveira. First hour was disappointed by his standards, but has continued to fight and claw and made a massive impact on this game in the last 10 minutes. It's been winning time for Sydney United. So the double change, Leroy Jennings making his way slowly from the field. Great, and he's a very
coming off
popular
for Sydney United, number 7, Leroy Jennings, and number 19, Michael Krislovic, to be replaced by number 9, Kyle Chimenti, and number 44, Farah Coco.
So both like-for-like switches. Coco will come to the left. Chimenti will take Krislovic's spot up front. They've alternated that position really up front so far this season.
Progress score from other grounds. Marconi 2 lead Western Sydney Wanderers 0.
Looking to make every moment count, but passes like that are not going to help their cause. They've taken the lead in 5 of their last 6 coming into today. The game where they didn't was away at SD Raiders, not far from here. They fell there on that afternoon. Performances like this has just plagued them at different times. Not the world's greatest chasers of results. Last time they did manage to come from behind and win was at Wollongong a while ago, as Wells made his way down the byline. Controlled by 2 goals to 0 at the start of May. Rudy Najar's equaliser came in the 92nd minute. Since then, when they've gone behind, they've lost. It's looking as though this game is taking on a familiar complexion. Wada. Oh, and Griffiths was, I think, unaware that Chimetti was behind him for a moment there. Just to deal with the situation, well, given that, but Elliott's clearance is agricultural. Taking precious seconds off the clock. Still 15 minutes to go. Sydney United don't look too keen to put the cue in the rack, but time is on their side. As is the scoreboard, thanks to Tomoki Wada. Wasic's ball forward. Wells. That switch of play on his left foot. Finds Coco, who want to get on his right, or feed De Oliveira inside him. Carlos De Oliveira. Only to Skotadis, and that might launch a Rockdale counter. Najar. Retaining possession. We wonder if we'll see him move more centrally as a minute's tick away. And Rockdale search for a goal. He's been a pretty consistent outlet for them this season when he's been in goal-scoring positions. Griffiths giving it a go. He can pop up with one when it's needed as well. Constable. Completely different page to Elliott, but retaining possession nonetheless. Griffiths has stayed forward. His pass was off the mark. Well, one back by Jalakian. Clean as a whistle off Coco's turn. Constable for Elliott. He's crossed too close to Pavlicic. The space is here to be exploited if Sydney United want to move the ball quickly forward. Coco's the man to do that. It's his ball in play. Elliott was keen not to let him go any further, but it's a result that favours Sydney United, all things considered. A roll of the attacking dice here for Rockdale in the closing stages. Ollie Wigan about to make his entrance.
Coming off for Rockdale, number 3, Lachlan Griffiths, to be replaced by number 7, Ollie Wigan.
Wigan signing from Spirit in the off-season, where he had a good campaign once he returned from the knee injuries that have hampered him over the past couple of seasons. He's been in and out of the starting lineup this year, and there's an attacking change. So Van der Sar, who's gone into midfield, now drops to the back again. Constable into the centre of midfield, and Najar comes to the right rather than going right up top. A jig of positions, but again, not really a formation for Paul D. And the new personnel unpick the lock, which has been slammed shut on Rockdale so far this afternoon. Elliott for Skotadis. Nakano's grown into this game. Didn't have the best first half. He's been superb in the second. This game is slipping away from Rockdale. Haven't looked comfortable chasing it. It can all change with a moment, of course. I think everybody observing looked pretty silly, but Sydney United looking pretty comfortable with everything in front of them at the moment. They need the energy of players like Skotadis, but even winning the ball back in positions like that, it's missing the telling moments. To see Murray Vlastelica in shot there, just deep in conversation with the young Julian Short. His first team debut for Sydney United, team from the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy. Free kick going Rockdale's way. Maybe a moment of hope as we tick towards the final 10 minutes. And the setting sun. See that. That's across Harry van der Sark's face. Comes from behind the Boca stands here, fortunately for you watching on the stream. Not the case at all the grounds around the competition. Underside for Kunimoto, who is inventive in trying to find Wigan, and successful in doing that. Got these fast feet, Ollie Wigan. I'm not sure that's where Mason Wells wants to be. He goes down under the challenge. He got the better of him, Wigan. Identified it was a player not particularly comfortable defending one-on-one in that position. The change is rendered pretty effective pretty quickly. So Sydney United's goal came from a set piece. Tomoki Wada struck direct. It's going to be difficult for Jalakian to do that from this angle. See if he can find a heads wearing a white shirt. There's plenty forward, all but two. Everybody back defending, and Rose well positioned for Sydney United. See 11 players clear out of the box. Elliott to try and send the ball back in. And the angle ball for Simonovsky was low percentage. So Chop will join us, and a big hand about to be offered here. Tomoki Wada has his number called.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for our goal scorer, number 8, Tomoki Wada. Being replaced by number 2, making his home debut, Julian Chop.
One of several Japanese players who've left their mark on this club recently. Tasei Kaneko, who scored in a Waratah Cup final, the sealing goal. Wada is certainly going about adding his to that list. And Koko's in behind here. His touch just let him down a little. Takes the ball wide with Constable at his back. Oliveira almost rode the contact to his own detriment there, but retained possession anyway. How about the awareness from Rose? Managed to get his side going forward against the flow of traffic. Coco cut out by Van der Sar, but straight back to him. Manly teammates last year. Oh, De Oliveira's in a dangerous position. Kay had to come a long way. Managed to smother the effort. And Rose, although frustrated with the free kick being given against him, I don't think there'll be too many worries from a Sydney United perspective, given the time in the game and where that was all developing. Simokovsky has been noticeably absent from a lot of Rockdale's attacking opportunities. Been well marshalled by the pairing of Vlasic and McGing, and Chop was almost away down the other end there. Didn't go big in the signing window, Sydney United. Didn't feel the need. Just a steady addition of a player like Chop, who's a continuation in their focus on those players in their early 20s who are going to flourish into first grade careers. He certainly fits that profile. He's blocked off by Skataris. Didn't get the referee's whistle, to the displeasure of the fans. Re-engaged in the contest. Chalakian working things out. Wigan bundled over by a pair of Sydney United players.
Stop picking what fast to call, man.
Van der Sar.
Go back to NPL 3.
Constable rides one challenge, but Chimenti's first engagement was enough for the whistle. We mentioned it before, Wada's effort that he found the back of the net with. Delivery generally today from these set pieces on both sides has been below par. And the side find the telling cross. It's clipped towards Timokovsky. Only as far as he's Sydney United again. Well, with a big week coming up for Sydney United, the Fairfield derby against Marconi next weekend down the road from here. Tried to hand Marconi their first defeat since they beat them here on Easter Monday. And they'll follow that up with a Wednesday cup clash against the Central Coast Mariners, who, has to be said, given the lack of signings of their A-League men's squad, changeover in owners, looks as though that's a fixture with real cup set potential. So they'll be looking to pick up a victory there too, with pretty close to a full-strength squad, I'd say, for Miro Vlastelica. Makes this result all the more important, just to give some confidence back after the 0-0 with Blacktown City last weekend, which wasn't the end of the road in terms of premiership hopes, but certainly did put a dent in thoughts of that silverware. This is just maintaining their position ahead of that key clash, and then an away trip to St George City, which will be one of the trickier ones that they face in the closing stages. They'd love to put the cherry on top here. Coco cut off by Kunimoto, but Sydney United have it down the right end. It's going to be changes for both teams here in the dying stages. Anthony Tomlich, who has barely seen first team football this season, hasn't made a start all year. Largely used off the bench, or as he was last week at Blacktown, starting in under-20s football. Under the afternoon for Chalakian, who receives a healthy hand, always full of industry and effort. McCarthy, his replacement. And Lucas Ribereski is going to be brought on as
Coming
well.
on for Rockdale, number 22, Harry McCarthy, and number 27, Lucas Ribereski.
Constable, another of the attacking.
And for Sydney United, coming off is number 23, Mason Wells, to be replaced by number 5, Anthony Tomlich.
Shot. Mason Wells brought off, and the attacking free kick, which is Ribereski's first contribution since being brought on. Just going to eat a little more time off the clock. Two in the wall, does the Oliveira on his radar right to put the cherry on top. Here at King Tom. Oh. Well, that might have just served the purpose of making sure the ball was clear of the goalkeeper. Poor old Ronan Mulgrew, who's behind the goal there, is to set off to play ball boy. Kay's managed to locate another to get play back underway. The question now is how much stoppage time are Rockdale going to have to chase this game. And McCarthy had a touch of class. He's without a goal for nearly a year. A great time to get one now, in league football anyway. He scored in the cup early this season. Oh, and Hayden Langholz has brought us back a fair way here for the challenge in Kunimoto. Still a measure of hope for Rockdale. I mentioned that game against Wollongong at the start of May. It did take until the 94th minute for a winner to arrive, or an equaliser, I should say, to arrive. Not over just yet. Kunimoto has felt the impact of that challenge. Regardless of how long it took the referee to bring that back, it's because he was searching for a Rockdale advantage that didn't accrue. They're booking, so Kunimoto is going to have to limp off and then be brought back on. It's going to add to minutes that Rockdale have available to chase the game late on as well, if they need that, of course. Van der Sar could deliver the telling cross here. Oh, it was right into the path of Skitadis, who almost looked surprised the ball had come to him. The decision is corner. The committee really up in unison now for the first time all afternoon. Certainly since the early stage of the first half, where Rockdale were in the ascendancy. That seems a while
Fourth
ago.
official has put up 5 minutes of minimum additional time.
They're going to have 5 minutes to chase this, Rockdale. Sydney United don't want to be stung by the late blow here. Hurt double coming from Rockdale. Miro Vlasic is down in a squat, watching nervously. Flicked on by Van der Sar. Too far behind anyone wearing white. Chance to deliver again. There's a couple lining up. Flying out was Pavlicic. Brave piece of goalkeeping. And Chop cuts off the ball forward. First Simonovsky and then Rybirevsky not able to get Rockdale going forward. Maybe McCarthy can. Rybirevsky. Elliott still full of running into stoppage time. Again, Chimenti cuts off the cross of Simonovsky. And Shop is happy to have it down the other end. He's really been the road runner for Miro Vlasic as it's going on, just giving them a release from this pressure. And then a sloppy touch from McCarthy. No real excuse for him. One of the freshest out there. Just a loss of concentration. And Rose steps away. And Chimenti's there. Positive touch from Elliott. Seen off by Rose. He was a little unfortunate there. Hold his ground. Time of the essence for Rockdale. McCarthy. Sure of touch this time. Elliott. Rybirevsky for Van der Sar. A hopeful cross. Falls to Wigan. 3 in attendance, and Tomolic sweeps the ball clear. Shop away from Kurimoto. And now he's going to ask Simonovsky to chase. It's a well-timed challenge, but it's a Sydney United throw, and that will do. There's a tension around the ground, so that you can sense the chance to keep chasing is still there. Without a win here, that Fairfield derby against Marconi is not really defining as it would be with all 3 points here. And so the struggle to hold on is important for the making of that afternoon as an event more than anything. And one of the Sydney United supporters has just launched that ball away. See another minute or so added to stoppage time, I think. And now they've gone the opposite way with 2 balls finding their way onto the field. Chop and Chimenti together. Wigan's always happy to try and wriggle his way out of issues like that. And Temolkovsky sees the most room he's seen all afternoon. Plays the ball inside Nakano. Chance for the youngster here. Rybirevsky. Blocked off by McGing, and De Oliveira has almost spent his entire tank, as he does every time he steps on the field. 95 allotted to be played here, but I'd be very surprised if we don't see an additional minute or so. Elliott over the top of Wigan. Temolkovsky and Vlasic came together centrally. Play continues. Simonovsky's ball wiping height and direction. To cheers from the Sydney United fans. who know they're nearly there. Is Tomokiwada's goal going to be enough? It looks as though that's the case. Sydney United absorbed the pressure of their opposition in the first half and have outplayed them in the second. It's been a familiar tale against teams near the top this season, and it's been a very effective game formula for them. The defence standing up, rotated again. And Elliott rather stupidly getting involved in things there to try and stop McGing time wasting, which is understandable, the frustration. Perhaps a little fortunate to walk away without a booking. A little exuberant. Check of the watch, whistle to the left, and Sydney United hang on.
It's full time here at Sydney United
Stoic in the first half.
United 1 have defeated Rockdale
Superb in the second.
Tomokiwada
providing the moment of brilliance they needed.
And that leaves a 12-point gap
a
between
very, very tasty
in third
Fairfield
place
derby
and fourth place
this
Rockdale.
time next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget,
a couple of
next week
kilometres
we are
down the
away
road
to
from here
Marconi.
against
That's
the
next
league
Sunday,
leaders.
the
It gets them
19th of
within
July at 3
touching
p.m. kick-off at
distance.
Marconi Stadium. Before a
With
big
7
Australia
games
Cup fixture
of the
here
league season left
at
to play.
Sydney United Sports Centre on Wednesday, the
third win in their last 7
of July against the
carries
Central
them
Coast
forward
Mariners.
somewhat.
We look forward to
Rockdale
seeing you
can't
there.
run away from Sutherland, both defeated in the Australian Championship race over the course of the weekend. But it's happy times here for Sydney United, who do their first league double over Rockdale since 2016. It's finished in Adenta Park. Sydney United 58-1, Rockdale Ilinden 0.